The unexpected opportunity. Jack Chen rubbed his tired eyes as he locked up Solar Touch Wellness Center for the night. Another exhausting day of back-to-back massage appointments in downtown Seattle had left him drained. 10 years of being the city's most sought-after therapeutic massage specialist was taking its toll, not just physically but mentally. The same routines, the same complaints, the same four walls. The neon signs from the Chinese restaurant next door cast a purple glow across his certificates and diplomas hanging in the window. Advanced therapeutic massage, sports medicine, specialized nerve therapy, all that education and training, yet lately he felt like something was missing. His phone chimed with an unusual tone he'd never heard before. The screen displayed an unfamiliar symbol, a spiral of stars forming what looked like a DNA helix. Curious, he tapped it. The air in front of him shimmered, and a holographic projection appeared, causing him to stumble backward into his massage table. A tall, elegant figure materialized, humanoid but clearly not human, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors like the surface of a soap bubble. "Greetings, Jack Chen of Earth," the figure spoke, its voice melodious and gender-neutral. "I am Representative Nexus from the Galactic Wellness Council. We have been monitoring your work with great interest." Jack's mouth went dry. What? "Your therapeutic techniques have drawn our attention. The way you combine traditional methods with innovative approaches is unique. We have an opportunity we'd like to discuss." Still trying to process that he was talking to an alien hologram, Jack sank into his office chair. What kind of opportunity? The Galactic Wellness Council operates a network of healing centers across multiple star systems. We're looking to expand our therapeutic offerings to include Earth-based massage techniques. We would like to offer you a position as our first human practitioner. Jack laughed nervously. "This is a joke, right? Mike put you up to this?" The hologram tilted its head. "I assure you this is no joke. We are prepared to offer full relocation assistance, housing on Centauri Station, and compensation equivalent to 10 times your current earnings." Centauri Station, as in Alpha Centauri, the star. Correct. It is our primary wellness facility in this sector. You would work with clients from dozens of species, each with unique physiological needs. Your adaptability and intuitive understanding of body mechanics make you ideally suited for this role. Jack's mind raced. He had always dreamed of doing something meaningful with his skills, something more than just easing office workers' tension headaches. But this was beyond anything he had imagined. What about the language barrier, the different anatomies, the risks? All staff are equipped with universal translators. You'll receive comprehensive training on xenophysiology. And Centauri Station is fully regulated under galactic safety protocols. It's actually safer than Earth in many ways. Jack stood and walked to his window, looking out at the rainy Seattle street. His reflection stared back, overlaid on the passing hovercars and pedestrians hurrying home. Was he really considering this? How long do I have to decide? The next transport leaves in 3 Earth days. We understand this is a significant decision. However, opportunities for Earth practitioners to join the galactic community are limited. Jack thought about his apartment full of takeout containers, his dating apps full of dead-end conversations, his calendar full of the same appointments week after week. He thought about his parents, who had always encouraged him to dream big, even when he chose massage therapy over medical school. If I say yes, when do I start? The hologram's surface rippled with what might have been a smile. Immediately. A transport pod will arrive at these coordinates tomorrow at sunrise. Packed lightly, all essential equipment will be provided. As the hologram faded, Jack's phone chimed again. A contract appeared on screen, pulsing gently. His finger hovered over it for a moment before he took a deep breath and pressed accept. The next morning, as the first rays of sun painted Seattle's clouds in shades of pink and gold, a sleek silver pod descended silently in front of his clinic. Jack shouldered his backpack, took one last look at his old life, and stepped through the opening door. He had no idea that this decision would lead him to become the center of an interstellar incident that would change the very nature of human-alien relations forever. First contact. The orientation at Centauri Station was unlike anything Jack could have imagined. The massive wellness center occupied 3 entire levels of the space station, its halls filled with beings of every conceivable shape and size. His trainer, a crystalline entity named Prism, projected information directly into his mind through his new neural translator. Each treatment room adapts to the client's home atmosphere. Prism's thoughts echoed in Jack's head. The environmental controls will automatically adjust temperature, gravity, and air composition. Your protective field will keep you safe and comfortable. Jack watched in amazement as a room transformed from a steamy swamp environment to an icy chamber in seconds. And I'll be working with all these different species. Initially, you'll start with humanoid clients. As you progress, we'll introduce you to more diverse physiologies. His first week passed in a blur of training sessions and xenobiology courses. Jack learned about crystalline beings who needed their facets realigned, gas-based entities requiring careful pressure modulation, and even beings made of pure energy who could be massaged through specialized force field manipulations. By his second week, Jack had settled into a routine. His human techniques, combined with the station's advanced technology, produced remarkable results. Clients began specifically requesting Earth-style treatments, fascinated by this ancient yet effective form of healing. Then came the day that would change everything. Your next client is Ambassador Lyra from the Luminary Collective, Prism informed him. Humanoid, but with some unique characteristics. Standard pressure should be fine, but avoid the bioluminescent nodes along the spine. The door chimed, and Jack's breath caught in his throat. The woman who entered was stunning in an otherworldly way. Her skin had a pearl-like sheen that seemed to capture and reflect light in impossible ways. Delicate patterns of light pulsed beneath her skin, creating mesmerizing designs that shifted with her movements. "Welcome to Centauri Wellness," Jack managed to say, thankful for the translator that smoothed any nervousness from his voice. "I'm Jack Chen, your therapist today." Ambassador Lyra's eyes, silver with flecks of starlight, met his. "The Earth Healer, your reputation precedes you. I've heard fascinating things about your manual techniques." As Jack began the session, he noticed something unusual. Wherever his hands touched, the light patterns in Lyra's skin responded, creating swirling auroras of color. The sight was beautiful, but more than that, it seemed to indicate areas of tension or energy blockage. "Your energy patterns are quite unique," Lyra commented as he worked. "Most species emit standard bioelectric fields, but yours, it resonates differently." Jack focused on a particularly tight cluster of muscles near her shoulder. "Is that good or bad?" "Neither. Simply interesting." Her voice took on a dreamy quality as the tension released. "Your species is full of surprises." The session continued smoothly until Jack reached a spot just below her shoulder blades. As he applied pressure, Lyra gasped softly, and suddenly the entire room filled with dancing lights, like an aurora borealis in miniature. "Are you all right?" Jack asked, quickly pulling back. "Yes," Lyra said, though her voice sounded strange. "That was unexpected, but not unpleasant. Please continue." By the end of the session, the room had returned to normal, but something felt different. The air seemed charged with an unusual energy. As Lyra prepared to leave, she paused at the door. "You've awoken something, Earth Healer," she said cryptically. "Something that hasn't happened in generations of my people. We will need to speak about this, soon." Before Jack could ask what she meant, she was gone, leaving him with a growing sense that he had stumbled into something far more complex than a simple massage session. That night, unable to sleep, Jack paced his quarters, replaying every moment of the session in his mind. He had followed all protocols, maintained professional boundaries, yet something unprecedented had occurred. He accessed the station's database, searching for information about luminary physiology, but found only basic anatomical data. A priority message flashed on his room's communication panel. His heart raced as he read it. Your presence is required in Medical Bay 7 immediately. Regarding Ambassador Lyra, confidential level Alpha. As Jack hurried through the station's curved corridors, he couldn't shake the feeling that his simple dream of practicing massage among the stars was about to become far more complicated than he ever imagined. The revelation. Medical Bay 7 hummed with unfamiliar energy as Jack entered. The room was unlike the standard medical facilities he'd seen during his orientation. Holographic displays filled the air with cascading symbols he couldn't understand, and in the center stood Dr. Vex, the station's chief xenobiologist. The doctor's 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of agitation Jack had learned to recognize. Mr. Chen, Dr. Vex's translator, conveyed their words with an urgent tone. We have a situation that requires delicate handling. Ambassador Lyra sat on a diagnostic bed, her skin's natural luminescence noticeably brighter than during their session. Around her, medical scanners projected detailed readings of her biological systems. What caught Jack's attention was a peculiar double helix pattern pulsing in one of the displays, similar to human DNA, but with an impossible spiral of light running through its center. What's going on? Jack asked, his throat dry. Is Ambassador Lyra all right? I am experiencing an ancient biological process, Lyra spoke, her voice carrying a musical quality he hadn't noticed before. One that hasn't occurred in my species for over 3 centuries. Dr. Vex manipulated the holographic displays, enlarging the strange DNA pattern. The Luminari evolved beyond traditional reproduction generations ago. They typically create new life through an energy transfer process in designated chambers. But your touch, Mr. Chen, has triggered something remarkable. My touch? Jack felt the room spin slightly. What exactly did I trigger? A cellular awakening, Lyra explained, her skin pulsing with waves of soft blue light. Your unique bioelectric field, combined with the pressure points you activated, has initiated a biological reproduction sequence. I am generating new life. Jack collapsed into a nearby chair. Are you saying you're pregnant? Not in the way humans understand it, Dr. Vex interjected. The Luminari process is more like a splitting of energy patterns combined with genetic recombination. But yes, in simple terms, Ambassador Lyra is creating a new being, one that carries both Luminari and somehow human energy patterns. The implications hit Jack like a gravitational wave. But I barely touched. I mean, we just had one massage session. How is this even possible? That's what makes this so extraordinary, Dr. Vex said, their 4 eyes widening with scientific excitement. Your species' energy signature must be remarkably compatible with Luminari physiology. We've never seen anything like it. A soft chime interrupted them as the medical bay's doors opened. 3 tall figures entered, Luminari elders, their skin patterns shifting in complex, authoritative patterns. The room's atmosphere immediately became more formal. Earth healer Jack Chen, the central elder, spoke, their voice resonating at multiple frequencies simultaneously. You have inadvertently participated in something unprecedented. The creation of a hybrid energy being has significant implications for both our species. Jack straightened in his chair, trying to maintain composure. What kind of implications? The Luminari Collective has strict protocols regarding new life forms, another elder explained. This situation requires careful consideration. There are those who will see this as a threat to our genetic purity, while others will celebrate it as an evolution of our species. And what about me? Jack asked. What are my responsibilities in this situation? Ambassador Lyra stepped forward, her skin now pulsing with gentle patterns that somehow reminded Jack of a heartbeat. In our culture, the creation of new life forms a bond between the energy donors. You would be considered connected to both me and the new being. Connected, like married. The elders exchanged glances. Our concept is more complex than your earth marriage, The third elder clarified. It is a quantum entanglement of life forces. The three of you, Ambassador Lyra, and the new being will share a unique energy signature. Dr. Vex cleared their throat, a surprisingly human gesture. There's more. Our initial scans suggest this hybrid being might possess capabilities we've never seen before. The combination of human bioelectric patterns and luminary energy manipulation could create something extraordinary. As if in response to Dr. Vex's words, the holographic displays suddenly fluctuated, and a new pattern appeared, a complex dance of light and energy that seemed to bridge the gap between human DNA and luminary energy structures. The process has already begun, Lyra said softly, her hand moving to her midsection where a subtle glow was intensifying. The new life form is developing faster than normal. It's as if your energy signature has accelerated our traditional generation process. Jack's mind raced with questions. He had come to Centauri Station to practice massage therapy among the stars, not to become part of an unprecedented biological event that could reshape relations between species. Yet, as he watched the beautiful patterns of light dance across the medical bay's displays, he felt a strange sense of wonder and responsibility. "What do we do now?" he asked, looking from the elders to Lyra to Dr. Vex. "Now," the central elder said, their voice carrying both authority and uncertainty, "we must prepare for a journey none of us has taken before. The first human luminary hybrid will require protection, guidance, and understanding from both our peoples." As the gravity of the situation settled over the room, Jack realized his life had changed forever. He was no longer just an Earth massage therapist on an alien space station. He was about to become part of something that would rewrite the history of both human and luminary civilization. Diplomatic waves. The news spread through Centauri Station faster than a quantum transmission. Within days, the quiet life Jack had been building as a massage therapist transformed into something far more complex. Security escorts accompanied him between appointments, and his client list was suddenly restricted to low-risk species only. The station's promenade buzzed with whispered conversations and curious stares. Different species reacted to the news in vastly different ways. The crystalline, prismatic beings vibrated with excitement, creating rainbow refractions that filled their quarters with light. The gaseous nebulons expelled worried clouds of purple vapor. The mechanical cybergenic collective remained eerily silent, their optical sensors tracking Jack's every move. "The Galactic Council has called an emergency session," Prism informed Jack one morning as they floated beside him in the staff lounge. "This is only the third time in recorded history that they've convened over a reproductive event." Jack sipped his synthesized coffee, watching the space traffic through the lounge's panoramic windows. "I still don't understand why this is such a big deal. Surely there have been other hybrid beings before." "Not like this." Prism's crystalline forms sparkled with emphasis. "Most hybrids occur between species with compatible biological structures, but humans and luminary. One biological, one energy-based. It's like mixing matter and antimatter without an explosion." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Jack's presence was requested in the station's diplomatic chamber, a vast, circular room he'd only seen in orientation holovids. The chamber was already packed when he arrived. Representatives from dozens of species filled the tiered seating, their translators creating a soft buzz of overlapping languages. Ambassador Lyra stood at the center, her skin glowing with complex patterns that seemed more vibrant than ever. Jack Chen of Earth, the council speaker's voice resonated through the chamber. The speaker, a being of pure light contained within an ornate hovering frame, moved closer. "You stand before us as both a catalyst and a concern. Your actions, though unintentional, have created ripples across our carefully maintained galactic society." "With all due respect," Jack found his voice, "I was just doing my job. I followed all protocols." "The protocols," interrupted a harsh voice, "were clearly insufficient." A dark-suited figure emerged from the shadows, Ambassador Void of the Shadow Collective. This human's energy manipulation abilities were never properly assessed. The risk to our established order. Risk. Lyra's voice carried a new strength Jack hadn't heard before. Her skin flashed with patterns of defiance. What we have discovered is not a risk, but an opportunity. The hybrid being growing within me carries patterns we've never seen before. Already, it shows signs of both human adaptability and luminary energy manipulation. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices and translator signals. Jack watched as different factions began to form, some species clustering together in support, others maintaining careful distance. Dr. Vex stepped forward, their multiple arms gesturing at holographic displays. Our latest scans show something remarkable. The hybrid's energy signature appears to be creating new forms of quantum entanglement. It's as if it's building bridges between different forms of existence. Precisely why this must be contained, Ambassador Void insisted. Such power could destabilize, or it could unite. A new voice rang out. The crowd parted as Earth's Ambassador Chen strode forward, Jack's Aunt Sarah, who had kept her position on Centauri Station secret until now to avoid any appearance of nepotism. Humanity has always been known for our ability to bridge differences, Sarah continued, standing beside Jack. Perhaps this isn't an accident, but an evolution. A natural progression in galactic relations. The speaker's light form pulsed thoughtfully. The question remains, what are we to do with this unprecedented situation? If I may, Lyra moved to stand beside Jack, her light patterns synchronizing with his natural bioelectric field in a stunning display. We already know what to do. The hybrid being has chosen its path. Look. The chamber gasped collectively as Lyra projected a holographic image above them. The developing hybrid's energy pattern was clearly visible, a perfect blend of human DNA structure and luminary light patterns, forming something entirely new yet somehow familiar to both species. It's beautiful, Jack whispered, reaching out instinctively. As his hand neared the hologram, his own bioelectric field became visible, harmonizing with the display. This is more than a biological event, Lyra announced to the chamber. This is proof that our species can do more than coexist. We can evolve together. The hybrid represents not just a combination of our peoples, but a bridge to new possibilities. The speaker's light form expanded, filling the chamber with a soft glow. This matter requires further study. Until we understand the full implications, we decree that Jack Chen and Ambassador Lyra shall remain under the protection of the Galactic Council. Their hybrid offspring will be monitored, but not restricted. Let this serve as a test. Can our different forms of life truly merge to create something greater? As the chamber slowly emptied, Jack turned to Lyra. Are you afraid? He asked quietly. Her skin rippled with a pattern he was beginning to recognize as amusement. I am fascinated. Our peoples have something profound to learn from each other, and our child, our energy hybrid, will be the first teacher. Together they watched the stars through the chamber's massive viewport, each lost in thoughts about the future they had accidentally but irrevocably created. The hybrid's existence would challenge everything both their species thought they knew about life, energy, and the connections between all living things. Growing connections. 3 months into what the station's residents now called the luminescence event, Jack found himself adapting to a life he never could have imagined. His massage practice had evolved into something entirely new, a unique blend of human therapeutic techniques and energy work that drew clients from across the galaxy, all under careful supervision. The most remarkable changes, however, were happening in Quantum Chamber 7, where Lyra's pregnancy progressed in ways that defied both human and luminary understanding. The chamber's walls rippled with waves of light that synchronized with both Lyra's energy patterns and Jack's bioelectric field whenever he entered. The hybrid's development is extraordinary, Dr. Vex explained during one of their daily monitoring sessions. Their 4 eyes tracked multiple holographic readouts simultaneously. It's creating entirely new forms of energy-matter interaction. Watch this. On the main display, they could see the hybrid's form, a swirling dance of light and matter that pulsed with both luminary patterns and human DNA structures. As they watched, it began to emit waves of energy that transformed the very air around it. "It's learning to manipulate both physical matter and energy simultaneously," Lyra said proudly, her skin glowing with maternal patterns. "Something neither of our species can do alone." Jack placed his hand near the chamber's interface, and the hybrid's pattern shifted, reaching out with tendrils of light that matched his own bioelectric signature. "It recognizes me." "More than that," Dr. Vex said excitedly, "it's attempting to communicate. These pattern variations, they're not random. They're responding to both your physical presence and Lyra's energy field." The discovery that the hybrid could interact with both its parents led to a breakthrough in understanding its unique nature. Jack and Lyra began spending hours in the quantum chamber, learning to harmonize their different forms of existence. The process was creating something unprecedented, a new form of family bonding that transcended physical limitations. "Your massage techniques," Lyra observed one evening as they sat in the chamber. "They weren't just manipulating physical pressure points. They were activating ancient energy pathways my people had forgotten existed. That's why this was possible." Jack watched as his natural bioelectric field merged with her light patterns in the space between them. So it wasn't just an accident. "The universe doesn't deal in accidents," a new voice joined them. Elder Luminara, the most senior of the Luminary Council, glided into the chamber. "What we are witnessing is perhaps the next step in both our species' evolution." The Elder's presence had become more frequent as the hybrid's development progressed. Their initial concerns had given way to fascination as they observed the new possibilities emerging from this unprecedented union. "We've detected something remarkable," Elder Luminara continued, activating a new holographic display. "The hybrid is developing what we can only describe as quantum empathy, the ability to not just understand, but actually experience both physical sensation and energy resonance simultaneously." The implications were staggering. Such an ability could revolutionize everything from medicine to diplomatic relations between species. A being that could truly understand both physical and energy-based life forms could bridge gaps that had existed since the dawn of interstellar civilization. But with this discovery came new challenges. Word of the hybrid's capabilities had spread beyond Centauri Station, attracting attention from across the galaxy. Not all of it was welcome. "We've detected unauthorized scanning attempts," Security Chief Rozak reported during an emergency meeting. The chief's metallic exoskeleton gleamed under the chamber's lights. "Multiple species are trying to gather data on the hybrid's development. Some appear to be from unregistered sources." Jack felt a protective surge he hadn't expected. "How do we keep it safe?" "The hybrid is developing its own defenses," Lyra assured him, her patterns shifting to display confidence. "Watch." As if on cue, the hybrid's form in the quantum chamber pulsed with a new pattern, a complex shield of interwoven energy and matter that deflected all external scanning attempts while maintaining its connections to both parents. "Extraordinary," Elder Luminara breathed. "It's creating quantum encryption protocols that even our most advanced systems can't penetrate. Yet it remains perfectly attuned to both of you." The days that followed brought a parade of researchers, diplomats, and spiritual leaders from across the galaxy, all seeking to understand the implications of this new form of life. Each visitor left with more questions than answers, but also with a sense of wonder at the possibilities it represented. Jack found himself becoming more attuned to the subtle energy patterns around him. His massage practice evolved into something beyond physical therapy, a new form of healing that combined human touch with energy manipulation. Clients reported experiences of deep healing that affected both their physical forms and their energy patterns. "You're evolving too," Lara observed one evening as they watched the hybrid's dancing lights. "Your human ability to adapt, combined with exposure to luminary energy patterns, you're becoming something new yourself." She was right. Jack could now see the energy fields around all living things, could feel the quantum connections that bound the universe together. It was as if the hybrid was teaching them all a new way of existing. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked Lyra. "That massage session that changed everything." Her response came in a complex pattern of light that spoke directly to his heart, requiring no translation. A symphony of joy, wonder, and love that transcended species and space itself. Quantum birth. The day the hybrid chose to emerge began with a cascade of lights throughout Centaurus Station. Every electronic display, every holographic projector, every quantum interface simultaneously burst into synchronized patterns of swirling energy. The station's AI announced what they all already knew: quantum event imminent in Chamber 7. Jack sprinted through the corridors, his recently developed energy sensitivity allowing him to feel the building excitement in the very walls of the station. When he reached the quantum chamber, he found it surrounded by a gathering of diverse species, all drawn by an instinctive understanding that they were about to witness something unprecedented. Just in time, Dr. Vex greeted him, all four eyes blinking rapidly with excitement. The hybrid is initiating a completely new form of emergence process. Inside the chamber, Laura floated in a sphere of pure energy, her natural luminescence pulsing in rhythm with waves of light that filled the space. The hybrid's form, visible through multiple dimensional layers, was shifting between states of matter and energy in a hypnotic dance. "What's happening?" Jack asked, placing his hand against the chamber's barrier. Immediately, his bioelectric field synchronized with the energy patterns within. Elder Luminara, who had been monitoring the process, turned to him with an expression of wonder. "The hybrid is choosing its form. In all our history, we've never seen a being with the ability to consciously select its state of existence." The chamber's monitoring systems were recording everything, their displays showing energy readings that broke all known scales. The hybrid was somehow existing in multiple states simultaneously, part physical, part energy, part something entirely new. "It needs both of you now," Dr. Vex announced. "This emergence will require both physical anchoring and energy guidance." Jack entered the chamber, feeling the familiar tingle as his body passed through the quantum barrier. As he approached Lyra, their energy fields merged automatically, creating a stable framework for the hybrid's emergence. The process that followed defied description in any known language. The hybrid began to coalesce into a form that somehow incorporated aspects of both parents while transcending their limitations. Its body shimmered with luminary light patterns, but possessed a solid form that could interact with physical matter. Its energy field pulsed with human bioelectric signatures, but could manipulate quantum states like a luminary. "Look!" someone gasped from outside the chamber. The hybrid had opened its eyes that shifted between human appearance and pure energy, capable of perceiving both physical reality and quantum states simultaneously. The being reached out, touching both its parents at once. The moment of contact sent a wave of sensation through the station that every species present experienced differently. The prismatic beings reported seeing new colors. The nebulans detected new forms of gas interaction. The cybergenics experienced unprecedented levels of quantum computing capability. "Hello, little one," Lyra whispered in a voice that carried both sound and light. The hybrid responded with a communication that everyone present understood perfectly, regardless of their species, a pure expression of joy and curiosity about existence itself. Dr. Vex's instruments were recording everything, documenting the birth of what might be an entirely new form of life in the galaxy. Its ability to exist in multiple states while maintaining coherence. This challenges everything we thought we knew about the boundaries between energy and matter. But Jack and Lyra were hardly aware of the scientific breakthrough they were part of. They were focused entirely on their child, a being that represented not just the union of their species, but a new possibility for life itself. The hybrid, whom they would name Aurora for its ability to bridge light and matter, began to explore its environment immediately. It could phase between solid form and energy state at will, could communicate with all species present through a combination of physical and quantum means, and displayed an awareness that seemed to span multiple dimensions. "This changes everything," Elder Luminara declared, watching as Aurora created complex patterns of light and matter in the air around them. "Not just for our peoples, but for all species. The ability to bridge different forms of existence." The implications were staggering. Aurora's very existence proved that the barriers between different forms of life were more permeable than anyone had imagined. The hybrid could serve as a translator, a healer, a bridge between all the diverse species of the galaxy. As word of the successful emergence spread through the station and out across the galaxy, messages of congratulation and curiosity poured in from thousands of worlds. But in their quantum chamber, Jack and Lyra remained focused on their miracle child, watching as Aurora learned to control its unique abilities. "She has your adaptability," Lyra observed as Aurora shifted seamlessly between states, "and my people's connection to energy patterns." "And something entirely her own," Jack added, watching as their child created beautiful displays of quantum art in the air around them, physical patterns that transformed into energy formations and back again. The security concerns that had dominated previous months seemed to fade in importance. Aurora's natural abilities to manipulate both energy and matter made her virtually impossible to harm or capture. She existed in a state that most species couldn't even properly perceive, let alone interfere with. As the station's day cycle dimmed to night, the various officials, scientists, and observers gradually departed, leaving the new family alone in their quantum chamber. Aurora, tired from her first day of existence, created a small bubble of combined matter and energy, a perfect synthesis of her parents' native states, and drifted into what Dr. Vex would later term quantum sleep. Jack and Lyra sat together, watching their sleeping child, their own energy patterns harmonizing naturally. They had created something that no one had thought possible, not just a hybrid, but a whole new way of existing in the universe. "What happens now?" Jack whispered, still amazed by how normal it felt to communicate through both words and energy patterns. Lyra's response came in multiple forms: a soft smile, a pattern of loving light, and words that carried the weight of truth. "Now we teach the galaxy what we've learned, that love transcends all forms of existence." New horizons. 1 year after Aurora's emergence, Centauri Station had transformed from a simple wellness center into the galaxy's premier institute for cross-species understanding. The quantum chamber where Aurora was born had expanded into an entire wing dedicated to studying and facilitating interactions between different forms of existence. Jack stood at the observation deck, watching Aurora demonstrate her unique abilities to a group of visiting diplomats. Now fully grown, hybrid development followed its own unique timeline. She moved with grace between physical and energy states, teaching others to see beyond their natural limitations. "She's rewriting the foundations of galactic society," Lyra said, joining him at the window. Her own energy patterns had evolved over the past year, incorporating some of the hybrid characteristics she shared with their daughter. Yesterday, she helped to negotiate peace between the crystal beings of Rigel and the plasma entities of the Carina Nebula, species that couldn't even perceive each other before. Aurora had become known across the galaxy as the bridge, capable of helping different species understand each other on fundamental levels. Her ability to exist in multiple states simultaneously made her the perfect mediator, therapist, and teacher. "Remember when I thought I was just going to be giving massages to aliens?" Jack chuckled, his enhanced perception now allowing him to see the complex web of energy connections that linked all living things. His own practice had evolved into something revolutionary, a new form of healing that combined physical touch with energy work, helping beings of all types achieve deeper harmony in their existence. The door chimed, and Dr. Vex entered with their latest research findings. "The Aurora effect, as we're calling it, continues to spread," they announced excitedly. Species across the galaxy are reporting increased ability to perceive and interact with different forms of existence. It's as if her mere presence is helping everyone evolve. On the main screen, they could see the effects rippling across space. Traditional barriers between species were breaking down as Aurora's influence helped them discover new ways to communicate and connect. The massage technique that had accidentally started it all had evolved into a galaxy-wide movement toward unity and understanding. The Galactic Council has a new proposal, Elder Luminara announced, gliding into the room. They want to establish Aurora centers across the galaxy, places where different species can learn to bridge their existential gaps. They're calling it the next step in galactic evolution. Aurora herself appeared beside them, shifting from energy to physical form with fluid grace. "It's more than that," she said, her voice carrying in both sound waves and quantum vibrations. "We're not just bridging gaps between species, we're discovering that existence itself is more fluid than anyone imagined. Every being has the potential to experience reality in multiple ways." She demonstrated by creating a complex display showing how different species perceived the same moment, from the crystalline being's prismatic view to the gas entity's pressure patterns to the energy being's quantum dance. Through her unique perspective, they could all see how these various perceptions were simply different aspects of the same universal truth. "Your father's massage technique was no accident," Elder Luminara mused. "Humans have always had this potential for bridging different forms of existence. You just needed the right catalyst to awaken it." Jack watched as Aurora began her next teaching session, helping a group of diverse beings learn to perceive beyond their natural limitations. His daughter moved among them with confident grace, her form shifting as needed to help each species understand in their own way. "We're receiving requests from every corner of the galaxy," Lyra said, reviewing the incoming messages. "Everyone wants to learn what we've discovered. The combination of human adaptability and luminary energy manipulation has opened doors no one knew existed." The station hummed with activity as beings from across space came to learn and grow. Jack's original massage therapy room had been preserved as a historical site, marked with a plaque that read, "Here, a simple act of healing began a galactic revolution." "You know what the most beautiful part is?" Aurora asked, returning to her parents after the session. "Every new species that learns to bridge these gaps discovers something unique. We're not just sharing what we know, we're creating entirely new forms of existence together." The family stood together at the observation deck, watching the endless dance of stars and ships beyond the station. That accidental discovery had led to something far greater than any of them could have imagined, a new understanding of life itself. "So," Jack said with a smile, "what's next for us?" Aurora's form sparkled with excitement. "The quantum scans have detected signals from another dimension, beings that exist in states we haven't even imagined yet. They're reaching out, trying to communicate. I think they sensed what we've achieved here." Lyra's energy patterns pulsed with curiosity. "Another frontier to explore. Another bridge to build," Aurora corrected. "After all, that's what our family does best. We connect the disconnected, help the different find common ground." As they prepared for their next adventure, Jack reflected on how far they'd come from that first massage session. What had begun as a simple desire to practice his healing art among the stars had led to a transformation that was still unfolding across the galaxy. The quantum chamber behind them pulsed with new patterns as Aurora began preparing for contact with the dimensional beings. Outside, ships from 100 worlds waited to learn what new discoveries this remarkable family would help them uncover next. In the end, it hadn't just been about bridging the gap between human and alien, or even between matter and energy. It was about understanding that in the vast expanse of space, love and healing could take infinite forms, and sometimes the most profound connections began with a simple touch.